Oh, that was weird. Okay. All right, so you can always sit on something like a blanket or a pillow if you're at home. Just come to a comfortable seated position. And take your hands into your lap and begin to roll your shoulders up by your ears and down your spine. And do this a couple of times. And then switch and roll your shoulders forward and then down. In this practice this morning, we'll be focused on the upper body and shoulders. And soften your shoulders away from your earlobes. And pull your heart forward and draw your shoulder blades back. And keep your chin level with the earth. Soften your gaze or close your eyes. And take a few rounds of breath, just noticing the ground underneath you and the way that you're sitting, the space that surrounds your body. And this morning, because we're focusing on the shoulders and chest, and really begin to draw your heart forward and your shoulder blades back, almost like you were broadening across your chest. One of my teachers says that sitting in this way is one of the most vulnerable ways to sit, with the heart exposed and forward. And oftentimes, when we're feeling a little bit more vulnerable or scared, we tend to shrug our shoulders forward to protect our heart space. So see here that we're all on this safe space on our mats. If you can, just deliberately keep drawing the heart forward, able to receive, able to greet the world. Be here for about 3 or so rounds of breath. Continue to soften through your chest and belly. Keep breathing the way that you are. Just begin to lift your hands and swivel your palms on top of your heart. And then breathe into your palms like you're pulling your heart forward into your hands. Soften through your elbows. And take a few deep rounds of breath here, connecting breath to body. Notice the rise and fall of your hands up and down with the breath. And slowly bow your head towards your hands in a gesture of gratitude for this practice, our bodies here. And when you're ready, blink open your eyes and gaze forward. And so you're gonna take your hands and you're gonna swivel them so that the thumbs hook, and then place your hands on top of your heart in this position that we like to call Swababa Mudra. I'll do this from the side so that you can see this pattern. And so from here, as you inhale, begin to raise your arms up above the crown of your head. And as you exhale, unhook your thumbs and then open up into Prana Mudra, this shape where the eyes are level with the fingertips. It's almost like a cactus shape, but the palms are facing in. Inhale, raise your arms up. And exhale, return back to Swababa Mudra with the thumbs hooked. Draw your hands in front of your heart space. And do this a couple of times. The inhale carries your arms up. And then exhale, open up into Prana Mudra. Continue to pull your heart forward and shoulder blades draw back. And then keep going like this. Inhale. And then exhale, Swababa Mudra, hands on top of heart center. So do this 3 more times on your own. You can soften your gaze or close your eyes as you repeat this pattern of movement. Continue to elongate the breath. Allow your arms to take up space. Do one more round. And at the completion of this round, just place your hands on top of your heart in Swababa Mudra with the thumbs hooked and bow your head. And take a pause here for a moment. Most of you already know that this pattern will repeat itself throughout class. Blink open your eyes, and from here, as you inhale, raise your arms up in that same pattern. Exhale, open up into Prana Mudra, and here's the change. Now sweep your arms forward, and you have this option of either just giving yourself a giant hug, reaching your fingertips towards your shoulder blades, or you can eagle wrap your arms. So from here, stack your elbows, wrap from your forearms so the palms will face in. If you're in this position and your body's like, nope, I don't want to be here, just give yourself a giant hug. Now from here, pull your elbows and forearms away from you. Notice that your shoulder blades can wrap toward your side body and breathe through the back of your heart, and we'll stay here for a few rounds. And notice that although your chest is slightly compressed, the back of your body is able to breathe a little bit with ease. Okay, so now let's move with our arms in Garudasan or your arms within a giant hug. Inhale, lift your elbows and fingertips up and gaze up. And then exhale, pour your elbows in towards your navel, gaze down. And do a couple like this. Inhale and exhale, initiating some movement into our spine. One more. On your next inhale, gaze forward. Then unwrap your arms and just pause here with your hands on top of your knees for a moment. And on your next inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead. And then exhale, open up into Prana Mudra. And as you gather your arms forward, just make sure that the opposite arm is on top, opposite arm underneath. And then make your decision, either eagle wrapping your arms or just give yourself a giant hug, whatever your body needs this moment. And then from here, pull your elbows away from you. Notice what just happens to the back of your heart, and we'll stay here and breathe. Wonderful. Let's now initiate that cat-cow motion of the spine. Inhale, begin to lift your arms and elbows, gaze up. And then exhale, gather in, round your spine. And do 2 more like this. Inhale. And exhale. 1 more. And on your next inhale, gaze forward. Unwrap your arms and take your hands on top of your knees and just pause here for a moment. Notice how your upper body feels. And then take your hands in front of your shins, roll over your shins, and then just scoot yourself in the middle of your mat. We're going to come into a child's pose shape. So you can always pad your knees and separate your knees about the width of your torso. So not super wide to the edges of your mat, but a little bit of space in between your knees, and then sit back onto your heels. And then from here, squish your heels and glutes towards one another. You want a nice firm pressure. Start to walk your hands forward as far as they'll go while maintaining your heels and glutes towards one another. And then begin to soften your forearms down. Bow your head. Take a few rounds of breath here in this passive child's pose. Just relaxing and breathing before we go any further. Okay. And so from here, now gaze forward and then activate your arms, meaning walk your hands forward slightly and elevate the elbows so that the arms are straight. We're going to come into a thread the needle child's pose. And so just watch if this is the first time you're doing this action. It's a little bit different than the more traditional thread the needle with your legs in tabletop. Keep your left arm straight, spread your fingers wide, and take your right arm out to the right. Make sure you have enough space to your right, and then thread your right arm underneath your chest and then gaze to the left. Take your time, and then let the side of your head come down. It's a little bit of a different feeling than that more traditional thread the needle shape. It might be a little bit more intense on the shoulders. If you find that it is so, just start to lift your hips up slightly. And pause and breathe. Breathe into the outside of your right shoulder. And so you can stay here for another round of breath or two. If you'd like to go a little bit deeper, keep your arms exactly as they are and begin to turn your head so that your forehead is facing down. Your chin is going to be smushed up against your upper arm. And slowly unwind, extend both arms forward, gaze forward. Okay, so we'll do the same thing on the other side. So this time your right arm will stay super straight and strong. The elbow must stay elevated for space. Take your left arm and then reach it out and then tuck it underneath your belly and chest. Reach towards the right. Place the side of your head down. And just start to notice how your left shoulder compares to the right as you breathe into the outside of your left shoulder. And this type of opening might feel really good, especially if you do a lot of upper body work. And now you can stay here and breathe for a few more rounds, or you can go a little bit deeper by simply rotating your forehead to face down. Your chin is going to be smushed up against your upper arm, and that torso rotation will get into a little bit more of the outside of your shoulder joint. Wonderful. Slowly unthread the arm, come back into that child's pose shape, and then press up into tabletop. And keep the blanket where it is for now if it's padding your knees. If you're on a carpeted surface at home, you might be okay. Tuck all 10 of your toes. Okay, and so from here with your thigh bones perpendicular to the earth, draw your navel in and pull your tailbone back behind you and the crown of your head forward. Puff up your upper back. So press into your palms and imagine that your shoulder blades are wrapping towards your side body. It's going to feel like you were almost rounding through your shoulders, but essentially you're just maintaining space in the chest. From here, as you inhale, tip your sitting bones up, soften your belly and pull your heart forward, gaze forward. And then exhale round through your spine. Bring your chin in and gaze behind you. And do a couple like this. Inhale through cow. And then exhale round through cat. And keep going like this. Inhale, continue to spread your sitting bones wide. Imagine that you could bring the back of your head and tailbone together. And then exhale the exact opposite, like your nose and your pubic bone could touch. One more. On your next inhale, come into a neutral tabletop position. Bring your knees and toes a little closer. And then extend your left toes back behind you. Swivel your left foot so it's parallel to the back edge of your mat. Kickstand your right toes behind you. From here, shift your right shoulder over your wrist, and then inhale, wave your left arm directly up. Gaze up towards your left thumb. And then pause and breathe here. Continue to stack your left hip on top of right as you gaze up. From here, flip the palm so it faces forward and then wave your arm forward and up until your bicep is right by the side of your head. Wonderful. And now from here, take your left fingertips, that's the fingertips that are up, and then sweep them forward at a diagonal and then back behind you. Inhale, wave your arm directly up. And then exhale, sweep it forward and down. So you're creating this giant like semicircle in space with your finger pads. Inhale, lift. And exhale, sweep them down. One more. And then exhale, come back into a tabletop position. Adjust your feet and then sway your hips from side to side. We will return back into a modified side plank in a moment, but for now, let's go to the other side just to give our right wrist a little reprieve. Extend your right toes back behind you. Swivel your right heel down and kickstand your left toes behind you. Left shoulder over wrist, and then inhale, sweep your right arm forward and up, modified side plank. Gaze up towards your right thumb and then hold here for this first round on this side. Right hip on top of left as you gaze up. Wonderful. Flip the palm forward and then bring your bicep by your ear. And then stretch like you were creating one straight line from your right fingernails all the way to the outside of your right foot. And let's begin to flow. Stretch your right finger pads forward and then behind you. Inhale, sweep your arm up and overhead. And then exhale, reach forward and down. Great. Two more like that. Inhale. And exhale. One more. And exhale, come back into a tabletop position. And just sway from side to side. Wonderful. A little warm up. So now let's go a little further into the shoulder. Extend your left toes back. We're going to return to that first side and make your way into a modified side plank. Sweep your left arm up. Okay. And so from here, as you gaze up, take your left hand and then cup the back of your head like you were laying at a beach. From here, dial your bicep in towards your face and then lift your elbow up as you lean back. It's going to feel like you were scooping out or hollowing out your armpit. You might even feel this along the outside of your left hip. One more round of breath. Wonderful. And then slowly unwind, come back into a tabletop position. Let's do that on the other side. Stretch your right toes back. Make your way to modified side plank on the right. Take your time. Adjust all the settings. Stretch your right arm up. And then get your hips aligned first, and then take your right hand, cup the back of your head, rotate your bicep in, and then lean back. So it's going to feel like you're creating that straight line now from your right elbow point all the way to the outside of your right foot. Wonderful. And then slowly come back into a tabletop position. Sway your hips side to side. Okay. Walk your hands forward about a handprint. Toes stay tucked, and then we'll meet in a downward facing dog. So start by keeping your knees super bent. Belly draws towards your upper thighs, and then lift your sitting bones up. Press down into the heels of your hands. Rotate your arms so that your elbow creases face forward. Gaze behind you. Breathe into the back of your legs. One more round of breath here in our first downward facing dog. On your next inhale, gaze forward. As you exhale, slowly make your way to the top of your mat, forward fold. Keep your feet about hips width distance apart. It's 2 fists next to one another. Knees bent more than you think you need to, and let your belly rest on the top of your thighs. Gaze behind you. You can clasp opposite hand to elbow point or perhaps reach for the backs of your ankles, whatever you like. Spread your sitting bones wide and keep lifting your tailbone up. Wonderful. And release your body. Just allow your arms to hang down. Now press into your feet. Scoop your navel in towards your spine and take 2 to 3 rounds of breath to slowly roll all the way up to a standing position. Once your spine is vertical, sweep your arms up and overhead. And as you exhale, take your hands back into that Swababa Mudra with the thumbs hooked and place your hands on top of your heart. Soften your gaze or close your eyes. Notice how your body feels in this standing position. Breathe into the base of your hands. Keep pulling your heart forward and drawing your shoulder blades back, like you were greeting the world with your heart. And then slowly blink open your eyes and then inhale, raise your arms up above the crown of your head. And as you exhale, open your arms up into Prana Mudra. Inhale, raise your arms up, palms to touch. And then exhale, fold forward, bend your knees and pour your weight forward. Inhale, halfway lift, hands on shins or thighs. Pull the crown of your head forward. Then exhale, fold, plant your palms and step back to a downward facing dog. So listen carefully in downward facing dog. Bring your big toes to touch. Anchor your left heel down. Fan your right toes open, and then inhale, raise your right leg up and overhead for a 3-legged dog. And pause and breathe into the back of your left leg. Use the leverage of pressing your left foot down to raise your right foot up. And then slowly set your right foot down next to your left. This time, anchor your right heel down. Fan your left toes open. Then inhale, sweep your left leg up and overhead, 3-legged dog. And again, pause and breathe. Breathe into the back of your legs. And set your foot down. Come back into downward facing dog. Adjust your feet. Inhale, ripple forward into a plank position, top of a push-up. And then exhale, carefully make your way down onto your belly. You can always lower your knees down or just make your way down. Untuck your toes. And we'll move through 3 rounds of a traditional cobra shape. Keep your hands on either side of your chest. Press into the tops of your feet and lift your chin and chest up. Low cobra. And then exhale, lower down. 2 more like that. Inhale. And exhale. 1 more. Okay. And set your chin down and tuck your toes. Press up through hands and knees or plank. And then exhale, downward facing dog. That'll be our flow. We'll do it a little bit faster. Inhale, gaze forward. And exhale, step forward. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead. Exhale, bring your hands to Swababa Mudra. Thumbs hooked. Inhale, raise your arms up. Exhale, open up into Prana Mudra. Hands level with the eyes and ears. Inhale, come up, palms to touch. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, plant your palms and step back to a downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, big toes touch. Inhale, sweep your right leg up. Exhale, set it down. Inhale, raise your left leg up. Exhale, set your foot down. Adjust your feet so they're hips width distance in downward facing dog. Inhale, wave your body forward to a plank position, top of a foot up. Exhale, lower down. Good. Untuck your toes. Extend your arms on either side of your body with the thumbs in and the palms up. Inhale, press down into the tops of your feet. Lift your chin, chest, and arms. Half Shalabhasan. Exhale, fold, and lower. 2 more like that. Inhale, keep drawing your shoulder blades back and your heart forward. Exhale, lower. 1 more. And then exhale, lower. Slide your palms on either side of your chest and tuck your toes. Press up through hands and knees or plank. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, gaze forward. And exhale, step forward. Last round. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead. Come all the way to standing. Exhale, Swababa Mudra in Tadasan. Inhale, raise your arms up. Exhale, open up. Slight back bend in the chest. Inhale, lift. Exhale, pour your weight forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Plant your palms and step back to a downward facing dog. Inhale, raise your right leg up, 3-legged dog. Exhale, set it down. Inhale, left leg up. Exhale, set it down. Inhale, wave your body forward. Exhale, lower down. So here's your option here. As you untuck your toes, extend your arms back, and you can stay here and do that half Shalabhasan 3 more times. If you would like to do a little bit more of a back bend, take your hands, interlace your fingers behind your sacrum, press the heels of your hands together and keep your elbows slightly bent. Roll your shoulders up by your ears, scrub down your spine, and now use the strength of pressing your fist away from you to lift your chest up. And then exhale, lower down. Bring your fist towards your sacrum as you lower your chin. 2 more like that. Inhale. And exhale. 1 more. And then exhale, lower down. Unclasp your hands. Press up through hands and knees or plank. Make sure your toes are tucked. Then exhale, downward facing dog. Then let's pause here in downward facing dog for a few rounds of breath. You can pedal out your feet. Just take a momentary pause. Wonderful. Inhale, gaze forward. And exhale, make your way to the top of your mat space. And then from here, scoop your navel in towards your spine and then slowly roll all the way up. Okay, so we're gonna do a little bit of balancing here. So I'd like you to bring your big toes to touch. And then press down so much with the ball of your right foot that your toes could lift up and then lower them down. Come onto the ball of your left foot. You can bring your hands to a prayer position. Sometimes that helps with balance, and hook your thumbs to your sternum, or you can place hands on hips, whatever helps. And then from here, inhale, raise your your left knee up. And then I'd like you to floint the foot, meaning point the foot, but flex the toes back towards you. And pause and breathe here. Breathe into your thumbs and gaze forward to a point that's not moving. Keep a slight bend of your right knee. 1 more inhale. And as you exhale, begin to push your left toes back behind you until you come into a high crescent lunge shape. And you can always just wiggle them back. Just set them down behind you. And then inhale, raise your arms up above the crown of your head. And then exhale, open up into warrior 2. So swivel your back heel down, bend your right knee, and your arms stream forward and back. Pause and breathe here. Keep broadening through your chest and collarbones. Shoulder blades draw back. And then from here, Now you can always just watch this first round. You're gonna bring your arms down into the Swababa Mudra. So it's gonna be the scooping action. And now watch what I do with my right foot. I'm gonna straighten my right foot and turn my toes in, and then raise your arms up. And then exhale, as you open up, you're gonna turn your left toes to face Colfax, coming into a warrior two position. And just pause and breathe here on this first side. And we're gonna move from one side to the other. Inhale, scoop your arms down. Come into Swababa Mudra, straighten your left leg and turn your toes. Raise your arms up. Then exhale, come into a warrior two on the right. So we're gonna flow from one side to the other. It doesn't have to be perfect. Straighten your right leg, scoop your arms and turn your toes. Raise your arms up. Exhale, open up to warrior two on the left. One more, return back to a warrior two on the right carefully. And exhale, come into warrior two and pause and breathe. Inhale, reverse warrior. Sweep your right arm up and overhead as you tip back. And as you exhale, return to a warrior two. Now from here, you're gonna swivel back onto the ball of your left foot. So you're coming back into a high crescent lunge. Bring your hands to a prayer position. Hook your thumbs into your sternum. Bend your left knee and then step forward. And shake out your legs so you can release your arms for a moment. Okay? So that whole pattern is essentially that moving meditation, having so much focus to pay attention to what's happening with your legs and arms. Okay? So bring weight now into your left foot. Come onto the ball of your right foot. Come into a prayer position with your hands, gaze forward. And then inhale, raise your right knee up. Perhaps the thigh is parallel to the ground and flank the right foot. Keep a slight bend of your left knee. And even though this position is essentially still, try not to hold your breath or clench your jaw in any way. One more inhale. And as you exhale, push your right toes back behind you. Adjust your feet. Inhale, raise your arms up. And then exhale, open up into a warrior two. Good. And so it's going to be a similar pattern in this warrior two on the left. From here, as you inhale, now just watch this first round because it's going to change slightly, okay? So you're going to do that same pattern to start. You're going to scoop your arms, but notice I'm not adjusting my left foot. I'm coming into Swababa Mudra. And then as I exhale, I'm going to reach forward with my left finger pads and then come into Trikonasana. Left hand down and then reach my right arm up. Okay, so let's do that together. From warrior two, inhale, straighten your left leg, scoop your arms, coming into Swababa Mudra. And then exhale, reach and tip over into Trikonasana, sweeping your right arm up and overhead. Gaze up towards your right thumb and then roll the right shoulder back behind you. And so from here, we're gonna come up and then now scoop your arms down, turn your toes, and then exhale, come into a warrior two on the right. Inhale, straighten your right leg this time. Scoop the arms down, but don't adjust your feet. And then exhale, come into Trikonasana, a triangle shape on the right. Reach forward with the right fingernails and then lower your right palm down. Gaze up. Wonderful. One more inhale. And stay for the exhale. Inhale, come up. And then turn your toes, sweep your arms down. Then exhale, warrior two on the left. So let's see if we can go from left to right. Just remember that as you inhale, we start with that Trikonasana, the triangle shape. Then exhale, reach forward and tip. But this time as you inhale, come up, sweep the arms down, adjust your feet, and then exhale, warrior two on the right, and you'll face away from me. Inhale, scoop your arms down. Exhale, reach forward, triangle in on the right side. Inhale, come up. And then exhale, scoop the arms down. Make your way into a warrior two on the left. Inhale, come up. Exhale, tip forward. Inhale, come up. Repeat that pattern one more time on the right. Don't forget about triangle on the exhale. This time as you come up, we'll all meet in a warrior two on the left. And pause and breathe here. Press your arms forward and back. Inhale, sweep your left arm up and overhead, reverse warrior. As you exhale, return back into a warrior two. And now lift up your right heel. Take your time to adjust. Take your hands to a prayer shape in front of your heart. Bend your right knee and then step forward and shake out your legs. Okay, and so from here, let's just take a quick forward fold. So just slowly, just scrub down the front of your legs. Keep your hands on the front line of your body as you hinge forward. Wrap your arms or hands rather around your ankles. Just take a momentary pause and breathe here. Lots of standing. We have one more of that little flow to do, and we'll add on. Okay, from here, scoop your belly in and then roll all the way up. Wonderful. And so come onto your right foot, hands to prayer. Inhale, raise your left foot up. Then exhale, step back. Adjust your foot. Inhale, raise your arms up. Exhale, open up into a warrior two. Okay, this time we're gonna do that same pattern. Scoop your arms down. And then exhale, reach into Trikonasana, reach forward, and then tip back. And so from here, I'd like you to pause and breathe. Perhaps you can flip your palm, your left palm to face away from you. Take the back of your hand against your sacrum. It's going to be in this half bind position so that you can press your sacrum into the back of your hand, roll the left shoulder back and gaze up. Wonderful. Slowly come up. Rebend the right knee and return to a warrior two shape. Gaze forward in front of your right fingernails. Now flip both palms away from you. Sweep your arms behind you. Interlace your fingers behind your sacrum. Roll your shoulders up by your ears. And then reach your fist down as you lift through your chest. Gaze forward and up. And as you exhale, perhaps you can hinge forward, sort of wide. So you're coming into a humble warrior two. Use the strength and stability of your legs as your head lowers towards the ground. The ultimate shoulder opener. And slowly come up. Return to a warrior two. Release the clasp of your hands. Lift up your left heel, hands to a prayer shape, and then step forward. Shake out your legs. One more side to do. From here, inhale, pick up your right foot. Exhale, step it back. Inhale, prayer arms come up. And exhale, open up into warrior two. Inhale, scoop your arms. Straighten through your left leg. Then exhale, reach forward and tip into Trikonasana, triangle. Gaze up. Flip the right palm away from you and take the back of your hand against your sacrum. Bend your elbow. And once you make that connection, roll the right shoulder back and gaze up. This is sort of the precursor to the Trikonasana bind position, which we're not coming into today. On your next inhale, return to a warrior two. Stretch your arms forward and back. Exhale, flip the palms away. Interlace your fingers behind your sacrum. Same thing here. Roll the shoulders up by your ears. Scrub down your spine. Gaze forward and up. Broaden through your chest. And then exhale, perhaps hinging forward into a humble warrior two. And slowly come up. Return to a warrior two. And this time as you exhale, carefully cartwheel your hands down. Frame your left foot and swivel your back heel up. And step your left foot back to meet your right in a downward facing dog. Last downward facing dog of class. Pedal out your feet. Breathe into the back of your legs. And finally, as you inhale, slowly ripple forward into a plank. And then exhale, lower down onto your belly. Untuck your toes, slide your hands underneath your forehead like a pillow, and then just rest here in a pranam, a full body bow. Just imagine that your whole body were sinking down. Take a few slow breaths here as we slow the practice down. We're going to do quite a few shapes that are prone or essentially on your belly. So make sure that you're comfortable. Keep your forehead down, weighted on your hands. Just begin to lift your elbows up like an inch and then pull them away from you. And notice how that can relax the back of your heart and shoulders a little bit more. Keep your forehead down and slowly pick up your toes by bending your knees. And sway your feet side to side like a windshield wiper. You might notice that this is massaging along your quads. Okay. And pause the swaying action of the feet, but keep your knees bent. And so from here, lift your forehead up. So you have this opportunity. We're going to do a few more back bends. So you have this option of reaching for the outsides of your feet. And now activate your feet. So flank the feet. So it's the same position as earlier. Point the foot, but flex the toes. See if you can reach for the outsides of your feet. If they feel really far away, just go ahead and set them down and we'll come into a Shalambasan that way. Okay? If possible, if you can reach the outsides of your feet, press your feet into your hands into your feet, and notice how that activates the front of your legs. Then slowly roll the shoulders up by your ears. And then inhale, press your feet into your hands and lift up. If you're doing this with the legs straight, it looks like this, just lifting through the toes and the arms. And then exhale, lower, but keep the clasp of your feet if you have it. And do two more like this. Inhale, press into your feet, lift up, and then exhale, lower. One more, inhale. And exhale, slowly release your feet without flinging them. And set your hands down on either side of your chest. Okay, so now from here, you're gonna lift your chest and then bring your left, I'll do this from the side view. Bring your left elbow underneath you and then swivel your hand kind of wide at a 45-degree angle. Okay. Keep your left toes down, bend your right knee only. See if you can reach for the outside of your right foot with your right hand. Okay, so press your foot into your hand just to activate through the front of your leg. And you can stay here in this quad stretch. You can perhaps swivel your hand so that the fingertips face your ankle and then press your heel in towards your glute. If you want to go one step further, lift up slightly and then swivel your hand one more step so that the fingertips and toes face the same direction. So just choose whatever step you'd like. Breathe into the front of your shoulder. And slowly release your foot without flinging it. And we'll make our way to the other side. So adjust your right elbow underneath the shoulder. And then bring the forearm about 45 degrees away from you. Reach for the outside of your left foot. Sweep it back. And then just choose whatever variation of a quad stretch you like. Perhaps this is sufficient, or swivel the hands. And slowly release the foot without flinging it. Return to a pranam. Widen the elbows and stack the palms underneath the forehead. Take a few slow breaths here. We're going to progress into a half frog and supine twist sequence. And so if this is the first time you're doing this with me, just take a peek towards the front of the room or screen. And from here, you're going to bend your right knee. And if you have a blanket, place it towards the right side of your mat space. It doesn't have to be as unfolded as this. Make sure that you have enough space. And then you're going to bend your right knee and place it on the blanket. If you're at home and on a carpeted surface, it's not going to be able to work. And you'll probably be okay. You might not even need padding on carpet. And then from here, you're going to slide your right knee up until perhaps it comes at about a 90-degree angle. And the knee and the hip are in line with one another. And only if you can see if you can keep your sacrum level, can you hike your knee up towards your armpit, but don't feel like there's any pressure to do so. Breathe across your low back and your hip crease in this half frog shape. Take a few slow breaths here. So start to lift your gaze, look forward. You're going to keep your right knee where it is. Prop yourself up onto your elbows and forearms. Take your left hand and you're going to sweep it underneath with the palm facing up. Reach in the same direction as where your right knee is. So reach to the right and then place the side of your head down and come into a supine twist. See if you can keep the knee down. You can place your right hand perhaps outside your hip or rib cage. And twist. Roll the right shoulder back. This is the deepest form of a supine twist around the mid-thoracic spine that we usually do. So make sure that your knee is padded if it needs to be. Breathe even though it might be difficult. And take your time. Make your way onto your belly. And once you're on your belly, extend your right leg behind you. Return to a pranam shape. And then move your blanket over to the left. Come into a half frog shape on this side, bending through the left knee. And allow it to be padded. And then you choose the height here. Keep your sacrum level. Breathe into the outside of your left hip crease. And then slowly lift your gaze. Take your right hand and reach towards the left, the same direction as where your left knee is, with the palm facing up. And then place the side of your head down and come into a supine twist on this side. Continue to breathe through the collarbones and chest. Okay, so from here, we're gonna just simply roll onto our backs. Make sure that you're still on your mat. And it's okay if the crown of your head is facing me. Adjust your hips and set your feet down. And let's just close with a simple happy baby shape. Gather your knees in and perhaps reach for the outsides of your feet or ankles. And then release the outsides of your feet and bring your knees in towards your chest. Press your low back down. And then bring the tip of your nose towards your kneecaps and curl in. And take a huge breath in here. And as you exhale, slowly release for Shavasan. Extend your legs. Unravel your arms by your sides. Allow your body to take up space on your mat. And as you relax all of the muscles in your face, chest, and belly, begin to blend your breath with the air right in front of you. And I'll call you back momentarily. So you can keep your body relaxed and your eyes closed. Notice the surging flow of breath as it pours into your chest and belly. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Reach your arms up and overhead. And gather your knees in towards your chest and roll to one side. And pause here in a fetal position. And press your palms into the earth and come up to sitting. And once you're seated, swivel your hands on top of your heart in Swababa Mudra, hooking the thumbs and pressing the palms against your heart. And as we bow our head towards our heart, we honor one another. And when you're ready, lift your gaze